Hey everyone, I'm Chris Dennison from Dirt Rider. That's Chris Kiefer, Adam Booth over there, and we're going to talk about the Husaberg 300 two-stroke today. So we just wrapped our 2013 Shootout and bringing you a little bit more info on every bike. The Husaberg finished second behind the KTM. And Kiefer, let's talk about that. So these bikes are, for all intents and purposes, pretty much the same. Husaberg's built in the same factory as KTM's, and a lot of similarities between the two bikes, but boy, they sure feel different. Break down what you think are the differences between the two bikes on the track.
Basically, I was surprised actually how different they were. For me, the suspension was the first thing I noticed. It was actually way more soft than the KTM for me. It seemed like it rode too low in the stroke and the fork, which had a tendency to make the back end ride high, especially when I came into corners because there's so much dive in the fork. And also too, the motor was in, it felt similar to the KTM, but actually I felt like it was a little bit more rich. And to me, I just preferred the KTM just because I could hop on it and go and felt comfortable. I think the suspension kind of held this bike back a little bit.
Right, now some of those differences in the suspension is different valving in the shock from the Husaberg and the KTM. Also, the Husaberg has a closed cartridge fork and machine clamps instead of cast clamps. So minor differences, you know, Boothie, we also saw Husaberg has a little bit bigger tank. But as far as the engine, we felt some differences with the Husaberg motor. Kind of had more finicky jetting than the KTM. Can you break down just what we felt there?
We struggled a little bit partway into the Shootout with the mid was a little burbly. We jetted it around, chased the jetting, and it never kind of cleaned up. We ended up chasing the problem down to just one of the crank seal. Had a little air leak in it, so we just pulled off, you know, the stator and stuff and replaced that. It's like a 20-minute job, not that big a deal. Sometimes happens on two strokes, not that big a deal. You know, it wasn't a bad air leak, so we didn't suck a lot of air in and overheat it or anything. But once we put that new seal in and it was a tight fit, it rode just like the KTM. Jetting was the same. Those bikes are, for the most part, identical: carb, motor, pipes, ECUs. So that cleaned up the jetting issue. But we chased it around for a little bit. We'll get it straightened out.
So Boothie, in the Shootout, we heaped a lot of praise on the KTM just for being such a solid all-around bike. And the Husaberg, although it's different, pretty good all-around package as well. Who do you think that bike is for?
In the end, it's kind of for the guy who doesn't want to ride an orange KTM. Wants to be just a hair different. Maybe, you know, it has that cool composite subframe, and it is slightly different, but really in the end, it's for the dude who wants a yellow and blue bike, not be orange like his friends.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, and I think just comparing the KTM and the Husaberg back to back, I'd still buy a Husaberg any day of the week. I think it's a pretty killer bike. And you know, Kiefer, when we were out there testing, we had Russell Bobbitt, who's a national enduro champion. He actually got the cover for the August issue. As a racer, how do you think the Husaberg is as a race bike, just in totally stock form?
I mean, I think definitely you could race in stock form. The motor is actually really good, and especially with the type of stuff that those guys do back there. It's, you know, lots of roots, mud, slippery. So you actually said you can lug the motor. You get a lot of traction, which is great, and a little bit of softer suspension won't kill you in off-road. You know, you kind of soak up some of that, you know, chop and the roots. So I would love to go rip one out in the woods. I think it'd be fun. Russell does a great job on it, so.
Yeah, he was ripping. I'd race one in a heartbeat too. I think they're good bikes. And you know, compared to the KTM, it's maybe not quite as refined a package. It's got some minor differences like we talked about, but still definitely a ripping bike. So.
And it's sad that they're going away. That what, one more year left, and then they're going to go away.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, as we're filming this, the future of Husaberg's a little bit unknown, but there's still a lot of solid Husabergs out there and a lot of owners who really swear by the bikes. So. At this point, you can read the full breakdown on all the 300s that are in the Shootout. We've got the KTM, which got first place, then the Husaberg. Also in there, the Christini, the Gas, and the Beta. Pretty tight little five-way battle for the top five because they're all pretty solid bikes. So be sure to check out DirtRider.com for more videos. And also you can look back at the August 2013 issue of Dirt Rider magazine for the full Shootout. Thanks for watching.